Welcome to Stow Therapy, where Stoic wisdom meets modern self-mastery. If you're ready to free your mind and take control of your life, let's begin. From dependency to freedom, the secret to charisma and mental strength. Many people unknowingly become dependent on others, relationships, social media, or specific outcomes. Emotional dependency not only weakens mental resilience, but also diminishes attractiveness. True charisma, however, comes from confidence, emotional independence, and freedom from external validation. On this journey, we'll explore how the mind becomes obsessed, how dependency affects attractiveness, and how Stoic principles can help us regain our freedom. First, it's essential to understand how the brain forms attachments. Dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin play a key role in emotional bonding. External factors such as social media reinforce these patterns, making it harder to detach and move on. Next, we take a closer look at how dependency impacts charisma. Those who are truly magnetic do not rely on external approval to feel valuable. They are at peace with themselves, grounded in their own identity, and unaffected by fleeting opinions. Attractiveness is not about seeking validation, but about radiating confidence from within. So, how do we break free from dependency? This is where Stoic wisdom provides the answer. Letting go of what cannot be controlled, mastering emotions, practicing negative visualization, and detaching from external validation are key principles that lead to mental freedom. When these three ideas come together, the path to true confidence and independence becomes clear. It's time to move from dependency to freedom, from weakness to strength, from uncertainty to self-assurance. Are you ready to unlock the true power of attraction? Why does the brain become obsessed with someone? Sometimes we find ourselves unable to stop thinking about someone. That person becomes imprinted in our minds. We repeatedly analyze what they said, check our messages, and forgetting them seems impossible. But why does our brain become so obsessed with someone? The answer lies in how our brain's reward system, attachment mechanisms, and psychological processes work. Obsessive thoughts don't only occur in romantic relationships. They can also involve old friendships, teachers, or even celebrities. Our brain can sometimes become addicted to someone, making rational thinking difficult. Here are the neuroscientific, psychological, and environmental reasons behind this phenomenon. 1. The chemical processes in the brain, the neuroscience of obsession. Our brain can become attached to someone due to the influence of certain neurotransmitters. Dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin play key roles in this bonding process. Dopamine, the addiction of the reward system. Dopamine controls the brain's motivation and reward system. When we feel happy around someone, dopamine is released, and our brain wants to experience that feeling again by thinking about them more. This cycle can create an effect similar to substance addiction. When we see or interact with that person, our brain perceives it as a reward and wants to relive that moment. Serotonin, the source of obsessive thoughts. Serotonin regulates happiness and emotional balance. When we fall in love or become emotionally attached, serotonin levels drop. Lower serotonin levels lead to increased obsessive thoughts, making us think about that person continuously. Oxytocin, the bonding hormone. Oxytocin enhances feelings of love and trust. It is released during physical touch, hugging, and emotional bonding. However, this attachment makes the brain seek that person when they are absent, triggering obsession. Our brain perceives dopamine and oxytocin as rewards, and when we bond with someone, their absence creates a sense of withdrawal, This is why obsessive thoughts become stronger. 2. Psychological and emotional factors. Beyond the brain's chemical processes, our psychological history and attachment styles also contribute to obsession. Attachment styles and obsession. Anxious. Attachment. Individuals with unstable attachment experiences in childhood constantly seek reassurance in relationships and fear abandonment, making them more prone to obsession. Avoidant attachment. People who are emotionally distant in relationships avoid closeness. But when someone leaves, they may suddenly become obsessed. Secure attachment. Emotionally healthy individuals can bond without developing an obsession or becoming dependent. The brain's reaction to rejection and breakups. When we are rejected, our brain works harder to regain the lost reward. The prefrontal cortex and amygdala struggle to process emotional pain. The individual idealizes their former partner or crush and thinks about them even more. When we lose someone or can't reach them, our brain increases our attachment to them, making us feel even more drawn to them. Thus, psychological factors such as our childhood attachment styles and past experiences play a significant role in making us obsessed with someone. 3. The role of social media in strengthening obsession. Social media is one of the biggest contributors to obsession. In the past, forgetting someone was easier after a breakup. But now, we can constantly track what they are doing. Constantly checking social media further fuels the brain's obsession. Every post we see sends a signal to the brain, saying, "Look, they are still in your life," reinforcing the obsession. This means the brain keeps the obsession alive by continuously gathering new information about that person. Phantom neurons. The brain's inability to forget our brain forms strong neural connections to maintain social bonds. Even after a breakup, these neural pathways don't disappear quickly, causing us to keep thinking about that person. The brain needs time to completely forget someone, but social media extends this process. The constant accessibility created by social media prevents the brain from letting go, making obsession last longer. Conclusion: how the brain creates obsession. Our obsession with someone is influenced by biological, psychological, and environmental factors. Brain chemicals like dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin create an addiction-like attachment process. Our attachment styles and past experiences determine how prone we are to obsessing over someone. Social media keeps the obsession alive by preventing the brain from moving on. Ultimately, when the brain becomes obsessed with someone, it makes them seem more important than they really are, making rational thinking difficult. This process is simply the brain tricking us. However, by understanding these mechanisms, we can better grasp why we become so attached to someone and how our brain operates. Ways to overcome addiction with Stoic principles. Addiction is not limited to substances or technology. Becoming excessively attached to a person, an idea, a situation, or a specific outcome is also a form of addiction. When we are addicted to something, we fear losing it and feel as if we have lost control. Stoic philosophy teaches us how to discover our inner strength, free ourselves from dependencies, and develop a more resilient approach to life. Stoics believe that the best way to remain strong in the face of life's uncertainties is to manage emotions, achieve mental independence, and avoid being controlled by external factors. This article explores how Stoic principles can help us break free from addictions. 1. Let go of what you cannot control. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus emphasized that people should focus only on what is within their control. If something is beyond our control, Obsessing over it is a waste of energy. Most addictions stem from attachment to things beyond our control. Whether someone loves us, how a job will turn out, or what will happen in the future is not within our control. The only thing we can control is how we respond to these events. Application. Ask yourself this question: is this addiction really under my control? If not, why am I investing so much energy in it? Recognizing this will open the door to mental freedom. 2. Do not let your emotions control you. The Stoic Emperor Marcus Aurelius said, "It is not things that disturb you, but your interpretation of them." Most addictions are fueled by being overwhelmed by emotions. When we become excessively attached to someone or believe we cannot live without something, we actually become slaves to our emotions. Addictions grow stronger when our emotional reactions are excessive. Instead of panicking over the loss of something, we should accept its impermanence. Application. When you feel addicted to something, ask yourself, do I really want this, or am I just trying to fill an emotional void? Becoming aware of this weakens the power of addiction. 3. Memento mori. Remember death. Stoics believe that remembering the impermanence of life is one of the best ways to free ourselves from unnecessary dependencies. The principle of memento mori, remember death, reminds us that nothing in life is permanent. The things you are addicted to today will lose significance over time. Loss is a natural part of life, and you can exist without those things. Application. Remind yourself of this truth. Will what I'm addicted to today still matter 5 years from now? This mindset frees us from unnecessary attachments. 4. Negative visualization. Imagine the worst-case scenario. The Stoic philosopher Seneca said, "A person who is prepared in advance remains unshaken in the face of misfortune." The biggest fear that fuels addictions is the fear of loss. But what if the worst-case scenario actually happened? Stoics recommend using negative visualization, a technique that prepares the mind for the worst possible outcome. If you mentally prepare for loss in advance, your attachment to that thing weakens. Weakening an addiction makes you emotionally stronger. Application. Imagine losing what you are addicted to. Think about how you would continue without it. This mental exercise will help you build emotional resilience. 5. Focus on internal value, not external factors. Most addictions come from placing excessive meaning on external things. If you are addicted to someone's love, you are measuring your self-worth by external validation. If you are addicted to a status, you are defining yourself by what you have rather than who you are. If you are addicted to social media attention, you have tied your happiness to others' approval. Stoics teach that a person's worth comes from their inner strength. True power is the ability to find happiness without depending on external factors. Application. Ask yourself, who am I without the thing I am addicted to? This realization will make you mentally stronger. Conclusion. Achieving freedom with Stoic principles. Addiction weakens a person and leaves them at the mercy of external factors. Stoics teach that the best way to break free from addiction is to gain mental independence and let go of things beyond our control. To overcome addiction, let go of what you cannot control. Manage your emotions instead of being ruled by them. Remember that life is temporary and everything changes. Mentally prepare for the worst-case scenario. Focus on your inner strength rather than external factors. Ultimately, true freedom comes from being able to live without being dependent on anything. Now ask yourself, am I truly independent, or have I unknowingly become addicted to something? Don't be dependent, be attractive. Dependency limits a person's freedom. When we become dependent on someone, a situation, or a specific outcome, we actually lose control over our own lives. A dependent person attaches their happiness to external factors, which makes them appear weak, insecure, and ultimately less attractive. On the other hand, attractive people are free. They are at peace with themselves, emotionally independent, and self-confident, which makes them naturally magnetic. The source of true attractiveness comes from inner strength and independence, not from seeking validation from others. In this article, we will explore how breaking free from dependencies can make you more attractive, and how to cultivate emotional independence to enhance your presence. 1. The link between attractiveness and dependency. Attractiveness is often associated with confidence, stability, and a strong sense of self. However, dependency works against these qualities. Dependent individuals rely on external validation to feel complete, whether through relationships, social status, or achievements. But the paradox of attractiveness is that those who seek approval from others often lose their allure. How dependency reduces attractiveness. It signals a lack of confidence. Confident people are naturally attractive because they exude security and control over their emotions. Dependency, on the other hand, makes someone appear fragile, desperate, or overly needy. It shifts the power balance. When you are overly dependent on someone or something, you give it too much importance. People are naturally drawn to those who hold their own power, not those who give it away. It creates emotional instability. If your emotions are dictated by external factors, you will come across as unpredictable and insecure. Emotional independence, on the other hand, makes you seem composed, stable, and desirable. Attractiveness is not just about appearance. It is deeply connected to the way you carry yourself, how secure you are in your emotions, and whether or not you need external approval. 2. Emotional independence. The key to being more attractive. Emotionally independent people radiate confidence because they do not rely on others for their happiness or self-worth. Characteristics of emotionally independent individuals. They do not seek approval from others to feel valuable. They define their own sense of self-worth instead of letting external factors dictate it. Even when they are in a relationship, they maintain their individuality. They focus on personal growth and self-improvement. They handle challenges with emotional stability rather than reacting impulsively. People naturally gravitate towards those who are in control of their emotions and do not rely on external factors for validation. 3rd, practical steps to increase your attractiveness through independence. Invest in yourself. Stop focusing on external validation and start working on your personal growth. Learn a new skill, develop your career, or work on your physical and mental well-being. Control your emotions instead of letting them control you. Emotional stability is a major factor in attractiveness. When you are emotionally dependent, you may overreact, panic, or become desperate. Learn to regulate your emotions instead of being controlled by them. Develop a strong sense of identity. If your happiness is based on someone else's presence or approval, you're at risk of losing yourself. Define your own values, goals, and purpose so that your sense of self remains strong, regardless of external circumstances. Be confident in your own presence. Confidence comes from within, not from external approval. If you act as if you are already fulfilled and secure, people will naturally be drawn to your energy. Detach from external validation. Do not let social media likes, comments, or external recognition define your worth. Attractive people focus on their own internal confidence, not on how others perceive them. Cultivate self-sufficiency. Instead of waiting for someone else to provide happiness, find ways to fulfill yourself. Take responsibility for your emotions, your successes, and your personal growth. By following these steps, you will naturally become more independent, confident, and attractive. The mindset shift from needing to wanting. There is a crucial difference between needing something and wanting something. When you need someone or something to feel happy, you become dependent, and your energy reflects desperation. When you want something but can be happy without it, you radiate confidence and power. For example, instead of thinking, "I need this person to be happy," shift your mindset to, "I would enjoy their presence, but I am happy on my own." Instead of thinking, "I need recognition to feel valuable," remind yourself, "I know my own worth, regardless of external validation." When you master this mindset, you shift from dependence to independence, which instantly makes you more attractive. 5. Conclusion. Be independent. Be attractive. To be attractive, you must first become independent. True confidence comes from being comfortable with yourself, regardless of external circumstances. Dependency makes you weak, while independence makes you strong. Attractive people do not seek approval. They create their own sense of value. Emotional independence makes you more desirable and magnetic. Now, ask yourself, am I truly independent, or have I unknowingly attached my self-worth to something external? When you focus on self-growth, confidence, and emotional independence, you will naturally become more attractive without even trying.